Hello, in this video, I'm going to be going over how to prepare or what to expect for your upgrade VIVA. And this video is geared specifically for doctoral students. So what tends to happen in many UK universities is when you're first registering as a PhD student, you'll first be registered as an MPhil student. Then after a year or a year and a half if you're full-time, and then 2 or 3 years if you're part-time, you will engage in something called the upgrade VIVA, which essentially is a chance for some assessors to really critique your work and ensure that it is of PhD quality, that it's original, that it's high caliber, and that they can see this moving towards PhD in a successful way. It is a really important meeting because it is meant to mimic or prepare you for your final VIVA. Obviously, at the upgrade VIVA, you're not going to have as much knowledge, you're not going to have all of your chapters, and so your ability to defend, as it were, your arguments and your work is going to be limited. So don't overwhelm yourself thinking you need to do too much, but at the same time it is a serious thing, because in order to transition from MPhil to PhD, you do need to pass this upgrade VIVA. And as mentioned, it is meant to be something which prepares you for your final one. So what can you do to prepare for it? Well, I'm going to give you 3 tips. So the first tip, read your university guidelines. So although this upgrade VIVA practice is common across many UK universities, the exact way in which it's enacted might differ slightly from university to university. And in most universities, you will have to prepare something beforehand, but exactly what that looks like might differ from university to university. So you might have to prepare 1 chapter and also perhaps an introduction, whether that be a summary introduction or a full introduction. You might be asked as well to provide a timeline of what you expect to accomplish and when throughout your PhD. And you might be asked for some more details as well. So the first tip is just make sure that you familiarize yourself with all of the policies and procedures so that nothing surprises you, and then you'll have the confidence and you can be quite prepared going in. Tip number 2, be wise in whom you choose to be your assessors. So most of the time, as I mentioned, you're going to be picking a couple of academics within your department. Do try to make sure that you are really thinking about who you're choosing as your academic assessors. So this isn't just an opportunity for them to assess your work and move you on to a PhD level, although that's a very important part. This is also a chance for some open dialogue between you and these other academics. So these academics should have some knowledge in particular areas of your research so that they can help to guide you. This is a really important opportunity for conversation about where you might go with your PhD. And so they might have suggestions about primary resources you might want to look at, secondary resources as well, and perhaps some wider arguments in which you might like to take this particular piece of research. So be wise and really consider who you want to be your assessors or your partners as you're about to continue the rest of your PhD journey as an official PhD student. And my third tip, last tip, is be prepared. Think about the questions that they're likely to ask beforehand and make sure that you have prepared answers to give. So some really common questions are ones such as, what interested you in this research subject in the first place? So make sure you can speak a bit to that to personalize what reasons you have for embarking on this particular piece of research. Another important question is to be able to summarize your research. They might ask, can you summarize your research for me in a couple of paragraphs? Now, even as I'm finishing up my 3rd year of my PhD, I find it quite difficult sometimes to, with brevity, summarize my work. So really think about this. Think about some of the key points that you'd want to make if they do ask you this question. Other common questions might include, what gap have you filled? How is this original? They might ask you, why is it significant? How does it compare to other research currently in the field? What new thing does it have to offer? And you should have answers to all of these questions. Indeed, at PhD level, one of the key components of doing a successful PhD is being able to fill some kind of a knowledge gap within existing research. So as I mentioned, read university guidelines, wisely consider whom you'd like to choose as your assessors, and finally, be prepared. Think about those questions that you're going to be asked and have answers prepared in your mind. I hope you enjoyed this research tips video. If you found it helpful, please do subscribe to my channel so you can stay apprised of further videos. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, leave them in the comments below. Thank you.